Welcome. Join us on Facebook at the Ladies Room group chat.
Help is not going to make her feel bad. Like, how does that make sense?
And then when you get ASAP Rocket, what is that nigga name? ASAP Rocket?
Okay, and Ree is doing just fine. She's still a billionaire.
He's right.
She last. She ain't married.
Okay.
She don't need him to raise her baby. Unfortunately, outside of the father, the presence of him being a father, she don't need nothing from that man.
Here we go.
Understand men. One of the things you have to understand is, ladies, is that men are divine, and it's our divine right to sleep with as many women as possible. Hell, God himself said it in the Bible, be fruitful and multiply. Who do you think he was talking to? So what women have to get is that when we find you special enough to form a monogamous relationship, it is a job of you to understand these few things. God made your hand small enough to wrap around a mop. You're supposed to be domestic. You're not supposed to be at the clubs and gallivanting around the streets. You're not supposed to be talking to men when they're talking to their friends and they're fraternizing with their friends. You're supposed to be quiet. You're supposed to be bringing in sandwiches and food and beer to your husband. And mind you, I said husband. You're supposed to bring in food, alcohol. Honey, is there anything that you like? You're supposed to constantly cater to your man because you are in constant competition. Listen, ladies, there are other women on the planet, but there are billions of women. You're in constant competition with Asian women, white women, African women. Listen, there's a lot of new coochie out there. And the thing is that men are animals. We are, I don't know what you guys believe on a panel, but we're apes. And we are supposed to be animalistic. But we have civilized ourselves with laws and morals. And if I say, I'm married now. But if I say, I'm going to be committed to her, but she's going to have to cater to me. When I need my peace, she's going to have to stay away from me. When I need when I don't want her to be nagging and yapping. And so women.
All right, y'all. That was a lot of the nonsense, right?
All right, Ashley. Where's Ashley Kutcher? We're being punked. What? Where you at? He gonna pop out my closet. Like what? This cannot be real. This cannot be real.
Sure. He is he's a caricature. I just can't put him on a bottle. He's the new ancient mama.
Yeah, these guys are really.
Who is his wife?
They're trying to be.
He's not married. He is fucking not married. I'm not believing that shit at all.
But
he might be. He might.
He's not married. He's not married.
He says
I can bet everything. He's not married.
He says he is.
I'm supposed to be sitting back, and I done got up out my look. I cannot believe
he is married. This is how it must have been under these three circumstances.
Oh my God!
The girl, they were both very, very young, or he has a little bit of money, and she from overseas.
She almost homeless.
That citizenship, and she needed a sponsor, or what'd you say? Or she's not a catch.
He found her at the Greyhound bus station, homeless.
She needed him. But anyway, I want to just dig a little deeper with this. Because I hear men talk about this a lot, right? Like older women have to compete with younger women. And I think that it makes sense theoretically, right? You got older women whose bodies are looking different. They don't have as much energy. They're not as fertile. Okay. Theoretically, older women are competing with younger women. Here's my thing, though. In practicality, in real life, I know y'all don't agree. Y'all can share what y'all want to say, but like in reality, let's be real. Y'all not dating anymore, but let's say a man like Chaotic Truth. Okay, most men, average looking men, average earning men, men with typical type of lifestyles, they are not heavily sought after by younger women. The only way they are is if they have a lot of money. That's the only way. Average men walking around with receding hairlines and beer bellies with kids of their own are not out here dating like these super model young girls. So it's like, it's just, to me, that's just this manipulation and this ploy to get us to see ourselves as though we are not worthy, that we are, the clock is
like manipulation
ticking.
so they can date young girls.
Or that too. And then here's the thing: if you look up the stats, most people who marry do have an age difference in the man, and about 63% of those relationships is older. But it's not a significant difference. It's a 2.3 year difference. That's it. It's not like a 10-year difference. So I just find it really funny because
what about the difference between
out
the
here
ones that they
talking about,
boning?
what'd you say?
The ones that they boning. I bet that's a big difference on that.
They're trying to act like
they marry a 15-year-old.
Yeah, and then here's the thing: in our communities, I think they're just trying to instill all this fear in women, like, "Oh, you're getting older." But most women in our communities get married at older ages, and that's really across the board now in America. But specifically in our community, a lot of women who do marry over 30. So I just think that it's just to me a ploy to kind of play on the self-esteem of women. And I don't want to be mean. I really don't. I know I shouldn't say this, but chaotic truth, come on now.
He is not swimming in bitches, let me tell you.
You know what stuck out to me?
So I'm just like, are you serious? You gonna date a 35-year-old? Because who else is gonna date? What I mean?
He said that women should not be at the club. So when he goes to the club, who the fuck do he want to see? Niggas? Like, who the hell he want to see at the club?
They having a sword fight, Darwin.
Like when guys be saying stuff like that, it just makes no sense to me. Like, women shouldn't be at the club, but you there. You just want to go and dance with. And man, it's just getting so goddamn
it can't be this hard.
And then he said, men are.
It cannot be this hard.
Right? This the same man that said his woman can't wear anything provocative because he's not big enough to put up a fight for her and to protect her when they're out. So how you an animalistic creature and you scared to fight? Make that make sense.
That nigga a bunny.
These guys just be talking. They just talk.
And then he goes, well, but we have morals. So, what do you mean? You have the divine right to cheat, but you also have morals? But wait.
He doesn't have morals.
What animals have morals? Which animals have
morals? First of all, I'm not in competition with no motherfucking body.
Yeah, you better say
Where the hell they keep coming from with this shit? Okay, you're competing. No, the fuck, I'm not. Go where you're celebrated, sir. Go where you're appreciated. Why are you over here trying to convince us so goddamn bad? Like, why? Like, if you got all of these options and all of this stuff, and women out here just competing, then y'all should just be quiet as happy as
right. Go be with your 20-year-old white woman that look like she's 50.
Like, y'all should be great. Like, it's crazy. And then the other part is, what are you talking about? New coochie. Guess what? Any coochie is new to somebody. What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about. It's the same thing with like Dr. Umar talking about some women over 30. Your walls is this. How you know? How do you know? You don't know what my walls was at 20 versus
them
when you
ain't getting no coochie.
About. What are you talking about? You're talking about things that aren't relevant to anything. Like nobody, I find it hard to believe. But you know what? I think increasingly people are starting to have these conversations in person more, which is disturbing. Disturbing that they are indoctrinating these doggone simple-minded men and boys and people, that they out here really thinking that this is going to get them somewhere. Like, none of this is appealing. Like, none of it is appealing. Like, when I went on Kay and Kayla's show the other day, and the question was about women losing themselves when they become wives and mothers and things like that. And I was on there speaking about how that can happen and how it's important to keep your own sense of identity. And it's important in the relationship to actually maintain the longevity of the relationship, right? Because you can't even really maintain a relationship with your spouse well if all you talking about is what the kids did yesterday, and you have nothing interesting to talk about with each other or nothing. That's how people grow apart. It happens every day. So I would say I was having that type of conversation. All in the comments, you see these men, your whole life should be about your husband. If your life ain't about your husband, and what's your point of doing it? And if you ain't gonna be this, none of that sounds appealing. What are y'all talking about? Like, y'all know that's not a selling point. Like, what you're saying, like, that's not a selling point. Like, nobody's gonna be sad. Like, oh, you mean I couldn't get married and make my whole entire life?
I told y'all, dudes is not studying women. They're not having a good time. This is not a course for them. they don't need to take up women one-on-one. And when they go to this is not a course for them. They're gonna fail.
Some of them need to stick to their headsets, their laptops, and their PlayStation 5s and Xboxes, and that one room in their house that they hold hostage. They just need to stick to that, because at this point, actually, I know this is I know this is 2022, and this is so different from when Miss Jovo was dating and getting married, probably Raven. I'm telling you, Ashley, it's not this hard. I promise you, it's not this hard. It's not this hard. It is not this hard. It's not. It's not. You have people with these unrealistic, I can't even say expectations, these ideas that they come up with. Because I would love to meet this man's wife. I would love to meet her.
Stop saying that.
I want to meet her. I do. The therapist in me.
He does not have a wife.
I want to sit down and interview the both of them, because this man lacks effective communication skills. He does. Something is not clicking correctly that needs to click. Like, emotionally, he's not there. Like, he's not there. And a lot of them, everything's so technical, and so it's got to be tangible, and it has to be this way or it's no way. And that's a huge indication, as the old people used to say, you ain't wrapped too tight. Like, you're not wrapped too tight. You're not the brightest crayon in the box. Your pencil is not sharpened. It's not. It's not.
But these are men that are also in our age range, bragging and talking about people in our age competing with children. Like there's nothing attractive about that. Like, if I was out dating at my age, and men in my age group is like, yeah, because my last girlfriend was 20. Sir, I'm getting so far. I have children at age. I'm getting so far away from you. Like,
exactly.
Like, what is your mindset that is something that is appealing to you? Like,
exactly.
I don't care what nobody say. It's legal, and it can be as legal as it want to be, but nothing is attractive about no grown ass person at their big age out here gallivanting with people that recently just got off a prom.
It's not right. It's really a cry for help. It's really a cry for help. We need to call it what it is.
Right, and it's a motivator for somebody my age to be like, "Ooh, let me compete with the teenager." No, you sound crazy. You sound insane.
Crazy.
Not insane.
Yeah. It's a little suspect. I can see 25, but then, like, when she's 19, come on now. Like, this girl just had a curfew. Like, that's a little strange, I'll admit. But I just think that there's a ploy for us to feel like insecure, to lower the standards that we do have, to kind of put us back in our place, because, oh, you're 40, you're 35, like, nobody's gonna want
or
you.
Put us in the place they think we should be in.
I have a friend who got married last weekend on the 9th. So, like, 10 days ago. Beautiful girl. She's 35, gonna be 36 in a week. Her husband is older than her. But she found exactly what she wanted, and she did not have to compromise. She didn't want a man that had children. And, like, I was telling her, girl, I'm more open because, guys our age have kids. I want to be realistic. She's like, girl, no, I prayed that my husband don't have no kids. She would not date a man with kids. And it's like, she didn't have to settle. And before him, there was a guy that she was dating, and it didn't work out. She was so heartbroken. She thought that was just the best thing ever. And then she met her now husband. And she could not be happier. And she's not the only woman that I know like that. There are so many other women who are like this, who have these stories. But according to a lot of men in these spaces, oh, women have to settle. You're 35, you're 40, you getting up there, nobody's going to want you. Is it harder? Of course it's harder. I mean, just dating is hard when you're a grown person because you got to go to work. Me, I don't say I hate dating, but it takes effort, because I work all day and all that. But it's like it's possible, and you don't have to compromise just because you're in your 30s.
I personally know 4 women. I personally know like close to 4 women who are over 40 who just recently had their first children from their recent marriage that happened within the past couple years. Personally,
yeah,
so they're
ecstatic and happy, and they didn't have to settle. Like they didn't have to choose somebody who didn't treat them well, or somebody who wasn't like a good catch. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
It wasn't until maybe years ago I started catching on to some of my friends. We'll go out and they'll just be looking at women like, oh nah, she stuck up. I ain't gonna look at her. They used to always call the more mature dressed, the older woman stuck up because they knew they had no chance in hell to get her. So, they already like, oh, she stuck up. I ain't gonna shoot my shot. But then they just migrate to the little girls and start dancing with the little immature, half-naked girls that's, just out having fun. That's young and, young and dumb, what you want to call it. But it just amazes me how many, and I say that to say, I doubt any of these men that's on these panels, on these shows, when they're out in public amongst women, and we all go out, we see how these men are now interacting with women. They just standing off to the wall, right? We see it. These men ain't even trying to talk to the women. They on these panels, like venting, having these tantrums, talking about what they don't want and what they don't like. But you put them in a social environment with these women, they not going to say anything. They're not going to say nothing. They just going to be standing on the goddamn wall with their little drink.
Yeah, it's
so you know why, right? You know why?
Intimidating.
Because
it's scary.
Because the older, mature woman, right?
Put them in the place real quick.
She's not going to just ask you, just these playful questions. Women who really, women who are really about their business, they're going to ask you, how do you invest in yourself?
And
see, when your constant ammo is, I'm attacking you and I'm attacking you and I'm attacking you, you don't know ish about yourself. So then when the mature lady comes along and she's challenging you to challenge self, oh, now she's stuck up or she wants too much from me. She's just asking you about who you are. But guess what? That's the kicker. You don't know who you are because you spend all your time criticizing women, something you know nothing about, criticizing women all the time.
Learned a lot from them about yourself.
Yeah, you know more about Black women who curve you than you do about yourself.
Yeah, it's just really, it's so interesting that so many men spend so much time talking about the women that they don't want, or talking about what they think so-called high value men want. Like you're not even high value, and then it's like you're talking about what you think they want versus what they really want. It's just kind of weird. Like I know older men who do very well for themselves, and they want smart women. They want women who work hard to meet their goals. They want, there's one guy he's a lot older than me, but he's not trying to date no 20-year-old. He was like, there's nothing that we can connect on. Like if you're trying to marry somebody and spend the rest of your life with, you got to kind of look past the physical. The physical fades. Eventually that 20-year-old is going to be a 30-year-old and then a 40-year-old. And that woman that doesn't have kids, you're going to give her some kids, and she's going to be a woman that has had kids, and her body is going to be different. So it's like there are men out there who, of course, want attractive wives, right? but they also want wives that they're mentally and spiritually compatible with. So
Every conversation ain't talking about coochie. They ain't ending and beginning the conversation with coochie.
and they're
They're
on
not
TV
ending
all
and
day.
beginning the conversation with coochie.
That's
They talking about life.
No coochie.
thank
And the
you.
men in these spaces, the more I log in, the more I stay on my phone and on Facebook. You start dividing them up. Okay, he leading with coochie, so you already know he ain't ready. Separate, putting them over here. And then the ones who actually talking about life and goals and what they offer to themselves and what they could potentially offer to a woman. And they actually have goals. They have nothing to do about nailing you to a bed or making you have a mop because your hand's smaller than his. None of that kind of nonsense. They're actually talking about things that we have conversations about in real time and in real life. People who are secure and they know who they are versus when you gonna give me some or you don't give me some.
But
Or
to
your
both of
walls.
y'all's point, that's exactly what I was about to say. To both of y'all's point, that is what it's all about. Like if you
Exactly.
listen to the conversations, that is what dominates. Like they're not talking about having. That's why I say it's all disingenuous, right? Because men social and culturally, men are the ones who propose marriage. So for them to be having all of these conversations about women not being married and this and that, and they want these kind of families, and women are not letting these kind of families happen, and they are not out here proposing to women, they are not marrying women. So it's like you're full of it. And then,
they are here talking about your walls, Candace. They are here talking about your walls.
The argument is always that the women aren't good enough.
But listen to what's actually happening, right? Again, to both of y'all's point, there is nothing that a 40-year-old man has in common with an 18 or 19-year-old. They don't have anything mentally in common. They are not out here marrying. They saying that older women are in competition with the 19s and 20-year-olds. So that's a whole bunch of 40-year-old men men that are married to 19 and 20-year-olds, right?
It is a lot of 40-year-old men that have something in common with 20, because a lot of these men are stunted. They're mentally stunted. They have not.
I mean, that's true, but what I'm saying is that they still don't have anything life-wise in common with them. They're just having sex with these women, pretty much, basically, is what I'm saying. They're not sitting here building lives with them and all that. That's the point that I'm making. So when they say you're competing with it, you're talking about we competing to have sex with you. No, we're not. We're not trying to line up to have sex with you between 19-year-olds, because there is no competition between a 19-year-old and a 40-year-old.
Need to just be left alone.
You're trying to have sex
in your life, where you are mentally, developmentally, anything. There is no competition. So what are you even talking about, right?
Y'all just gotta leave these niggas alone.
You also have to think about when they talk about going over to other countries, right? And they like, we gonna get the other woman in other countries because they not marrying them women either. So like, what are you talking about? Like you're talking about having sex with people, and I feel like you said, it's just to continue to try to shame Black women into being willing to have sex with them. That's what they're doing. That's why they talking about walls and what's that, and they talking about you hitting the wall and you this and
you know they used to do it another way.
It's like they trying to convince women, like
you know how men used to.
So come your old used up self over here.
Hey,
like no.
Do y'all know how men used to shame women to having sex with them back in the day?
Huh?
They'll find a dirty dude you had sex with and be like, well, you fucked him.
Or my favorite one.
They got creative now with y'all asses.
Or my favorite one. My favorite one, the episode of The Cosby Show where Erica Alexander plays Pam and her boyfriend is pressuring her to have premarital sex. Y'all remember that? And he starts talking about, well, you say you love me, but then you don't want to show it. And then he goes into, what was the girl name, the character? Shanika Watkins. Well, Shanika said she'll do this and that, trying to make her feel bad. And they spent a whole half-hour show with Pam contemplating about, am I enough? Can I be Sly's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Is he going to go with Shanika Watkins? And it's just like, even on television, y'all gotta make Black women question their worth.
These niggas are more creative than a white man is to oppress us. To get when they try to get some Gucci, boy, they come up with all types of stuff to get y'all. No,
It's just absolutely
Well,
just.
I mean, it's just obvious because a lot of these men wouldn't be dating. Like he said, Rihanna's hitting the wall, and she's. I'm like, you would love to have Rihanna.
You couldn't
You
date
know,
Rihanna
Right,
if she was
like you
100.
can't even be in the same room with Rihanna. But
If
that's
she
just
was
like,
100, not to die,
that's
she
just
was
like
getting
when
big
Kevin Samuels talking about Beyonce is what he say she an 8. Boy,
Shit.
if you don't go sit down somewhere, like stop. Like who are
You
you?
look
Like
like a whole
y'all are
person.
crazy.
You know why they but
my husband
other than Riri, you know why they mad at Riri, right? They mad because what is it? What's the other stuff you hear them talk
She
about?
ain't married
These
and she
boys
having a
need to
baby.
pull up their pants. They need to stop rapping about this and that. And she done went out and got a rapper. Okay. She done went out and got a rapper. She dating the rapper. And they looking at him like, oh, well, why she ain't picking one of us? Why she pick him? Okay. Why she pick him? Why she pick him? Okay. Okay.
No, I
Or
told
like
my
Sierra
husband, I
and
said,
Russell.
I said,
Like Sierra and Russell. Sierra prayed for a man after that horrible relationship she was in. And guess what happened? She got her man. So now when you unhappy with your life and you see somebody else winning, this how you separate the people who for you and the haters. The haters be like, I can't believe he picked her. I'm just in disbelief. How did this happen? You know, just horrible.
It's so weird because think about
it is weird.
I don't want to talk too much about the whole Sierra thing. Like, okay, so their thing is, why would he, you know, he's like cream of the crop. Why would he choose a single mom? You know, she's damaged goods. So that's their thinking. But my thinking is, okay,
but you living with your baby mama. Ain't put no ring on it.
Like
I'm trying to understand why you wouldn't want Elon Musk to be the next baby daddy.
Over 60% of, you know, men in our communities, Black men, contrary to what Kevin Samuels says, by the age of 30, have children. So it's like most of them, not all of them, but most of them do. So it's like you all have the same baggage. So it's just like it just seems really hypocritical to me.
No, I said if these men ain't
stop
got
listening to these
nothing
niggas.
else, if they have nothing else, they have audacity.
Boy, listen.
It's on sale in bulk.
Sierra,
listen.
It's like she, you know, I hear men talk a lot about women's choices, right? Not taking accountability. And so, okay, Rihanna made some bad choices in her past with Future, right? Apparently, from what
Sierra.
Sierra, yeah.
Rihanna.
You said Rihanna, but you're talking about Sierra, yeah.
Yeah. But she learned from them,
$1 billion
and
difference.
now she chose somebody better. So it's
no.
like,
Actually, I'm gonna go deeper.
Yeah,
Sierra was out here doing what they do all the time, living her best life, dating guys, wearing certain things, getting attention, just like they get from some of these women, right? And then lo and behold, okay, they don't wore themselves out in the street. Like, no, just like Darwin said, the mature lady who's dressed a certain way at happy hour, she ain't checking for you. She good wife material, but she ain't checking for you, your 3 baby mamas, and your 8 kids. She's not. But guess what happened with Sierra? She got her Prince Charming and had a baby in tow. Now you hating on her because she was out there giving that same quote unquote masculine energy and dating and trying to get her life back together, and bam, she got blessed. Guess what? You still what? You still got your 3 baby mamas. You barely paying child support. You complaining about life. Okay, all your complaints are aimed at people that look just like you. Okay, so if I'm not working on myself, what's my ammo? What's my ammo, y'all? I'm gonna pick on somebody that look like me. Yeah. So I'm mad because Sierra is the female version of me. You know, she's single, she dating, she out here making songs, shaking her stuff, whatever. I'm single. You know, I'm out here bedding women. But guess what? Guess what? She got somebody to come home to at night. Guess what? They don't have. They ain't got that. They ain't got that. Because see, now it's funny because now it's shifting because actually, just like with you, just like your friend, she knew she didn't want a man who had kids, right? She knew that. Guess what? Women got options. They got options just like men do, and that's what's scaring the heck out of them.
I talk to my
so
guys
to keep
all
y'all
the time.
from seeing that, I'm gonna tell y'all how awful y'all are.
I tell my guys all the time, go get you a wife, and this I preach this to them. I say you need a wife because I don't want you to die alone. Like I start feeling like I have to look out for my guys. Like, you know, some of my guys ain't got kids, you know, they ain't got no woman that's you know, we gonna get old, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know what these men talking about, women hitting their wall at 30, but these older women are taking care of the older men more. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no older man taking care of their woman. It's the woman taking care of the men. So I be telling my guys all the time, hey, while y'all talking all this stuff about these black women, guess what? You're gonna need a black woman to take care of you. And when you don't have it, where you gonna be at?
Listen, just saying.
So all this untrue stuff that these men want to speak about black women, you know, and they want to live in a delusion about it, they can go ahead and live in a delusion and play till they get 60. And guess what? They go die alone and unhappy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I was on one of these shows and I hate to keep mentioning it, but the La Peep show, that's the only other show I've been on. I mentioned to Anton, you know, I have options. He was trying to, you know, criticize me for being single and, you know, you're not married. Something must be wrong with you. You need to listen. You need to take my course and listen to Kevin Samuels so you can get you a man. And so I was just like, no, you know, I have options, you know, and I have had options. And then they tried to, really, it was disrespectful, and I wish I had said something about it at the time. But they insinuated that, oh, these men that are your options are just using you for sex. You know, oh, they just want you. I forgot his exact words.
How the fuck they know?
But
they met these dudes.
And then somebody in the comment section was like, they just want to bend you over. And I was just like, that was just such a ploy.
Because they just want to bend you over. So they trying to put that off on them. So you won't pick them. And so they can be that much closer to, so they can be relevant to the dude that you talking about. So they can fit in one little boat. Like if you go date him, you might as well date me because all he won't do is bend you over. Like, yeah, whatever. That ain't gonna work, buddy.
To value me. It's that, you know, just trying to make women feel like, you know, you're not married. I validate you by offering you this hand in marriage. And if you're not married, you know, man, we perfect. We have nothing to change. You know, you just have to find us. And if you haven't found us, then that must mean you're not good enough. And I was just like, that is, and then to assume that these options that I have are just trying to sleep with me is really devaluing me. And it's like, to me, it's so narcissistic. Like, oh, because a man may be trying to do that, that means that I'm willing to do
that's
it.
All,
like,
that's right, and that's all that you worth. Like that's the only thing that they see in you is bending you over. Like they didn't see how intelligent you are, or none of that, or how caring you are, none of that. All they see is an ass. Like all men ain't like that. And know what you should have told them? You should have been like, "Well, I like to be bent over. So now what?" You know what I'm saying? Like, and of course, I would hope they do want to bend me over. Shit, let's get with the pound cakes.
So yeah, it's just that. And Chaotic Truth actually tried to do that with Courtney on this same very show. You know, he asked her to show her ring. And because she was hitting on some points that he couldn't address, and so hold up your left ring finger, and it was just like to diminish the woman, like, oh, look at you, you're older, you're this, you're that, and it's your job, you know, it's Rihanna's job to keep A$AP Rocky now because she's 40, so and he got options. And it was like, well, first I don't think he got options, but you know what I mean? It's really. I don't know. It's just pathetic.
It's crazy. It's crazy because they could just be comfortable with what they're doing, where they are, and if they're gonna get married, they'll get married eventually if that's what's meant to be. If not, then guess what? They won't get married.
I hope she don't marry him and go marry somebody else. That'll piss him off.
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Hope she marry a white man.
I doubt she do that.
You are a fool. But I also wanted to point out that part.
Jump off a bridge.
Did y'all get that part about like, okay, so
start killing themselves?
No, we don't want that. No, we don't want that.
No, we definitely don't.
No. Hey, if Rihanna went and married a white man after she had A$AP Rocky baby, niggas will start jumping off bridges.
No. We don't want that.
They lose their motherfucking bad boy. They like, see, I told you. Look what she did.
No, we don't want crazy.
He would. But I find it interesting that he also was just like, you know, men are animalistic. It's in our nature. It's our right to sleep with a lot of women. And so if you're married to us, it's your job to try to keep us. And I do believe we got a part to play as women, right? You can't get lazy in your relationship, just like we don't want men to get lazy in the relationship with us. But I would not want a man that I have to keep from cheating. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be out there holding around, you need to just go. You know what I mean? Like, I would.
Well, because you literally can't keep somebody from cheating. Somebody want to
You
cheat,
can't.
they don't cheat. Like, cheating
All
is
behavior
itself,
is a choice.
exactly. That is a choice that the person is making for themselves.
You can
That
be
is a
happy in love
self-defeating
like
behavior.
today on Tuesday, and somebody might cheat on Thursday, and you cannot internalize that to the point where it's like, oh, I made them go do that. That ain't how life works.
Right, that's what I mean. Like, people are doing that because that's who they want to be. Like if either somebody wants to be that person or they don't want to be that person. It's
Oh,
nothing.
and I don't want to take accountability for the fact that I messed up, like I broke a vow, or
Right.
I broke a covenant, or I broke my promise. That's the whole thing. Because you know the other thing in that whole world, they don't want to be wrong about nothing.
Because the promise should be more so to yourself. It shouldn't even
There
be
you-
to the other person. It should be
Exactly.
okay. I'm making this vow. This is the commitment that I'm making. This is what I'm doing. So
The
you're
duty
breaking
that
your
we
promise
talked
to
about before.
yourself.
Exactly. I said I was going to do something, and I'm going to do everything in my power to do it.
To do it.
Okay,
And it
not
don't have
because
nothing to do
it's
with the
this
other
person, but because this is what I signed up for.
Correct.
All right,
You
y'all.
know.
Join us live every Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. Central Standard Time.